I'm Tom, and today we're going to make an at-home or copycat version of the Starbucks new iced toasted vanilla shaken espresso. It's a toasted vanilla flavored drink, and we're going to make our own version of it. And actually, I'm going to use some real vanilla to get a really strong flavor in that. So the first thing we're going to do is make our toasted vanilla syrup, and we're going to start with cane sugar. Starbucks does use a syrup that uses cane sugar rather than high fructose corn syrup, which is great. So I'm going to take a half cup of this, and I'm just going to put this into a bowl. So we've got our sugar here, really nice, good quality cane sugar. Now we're going to add some vanilla extract. So to get that nice, strong vanilla flavor, I'm going to use real vanilla extract, not an artificial one. This comes from the actual vanilla bean. And I'm going to do about a teaspoon of that into the sugar here, maybe a little bit more, a teaspoon and a half. Depends on how strong you want that vanilla flavor to be in your drink ultimately. Go ahead and add that in. Just mix that into the sugar here. And now I've got a nice vanilla sugar. And obviously you can't smell it, but I can smell it. It smells very nice and strong vanilla type of scent to it. Now we're going to add in the toasted element. So we're going to go ahead and take a pan, put it on the stove top. We're not going to put anything in it. And we're going to go ahead and heat this up. And just be careful, obviously, because it's going to get very hot. Now when this is good and hot, we're going to go ahead and take our vanilla sugar, and we're going to pour that right into the pan. And keep it moving. You don't want this to burn. You just want to get a nice bit of that toastiness to it. Caramelize a little bit without burning onto the pan. So keep it definitely in constant motion around here. You can use a spatula, turn it, move it. And we're just going to keep doing this until we start to see a little bit of caramelization happening. But again, we definitely don't want to burn it, and it will burn pretty quickly if you're not careful. So keep it moving. Hot surface, nothing in the pan. It's going to get that nice toasty, caramelly element added in to this. And it's going to dry it out too, because we do add a bit of liquid with that vanilla extract in there. And just when you start to see this melt a little bit, you can see it on there, you start to get a kind of cotton candy smell coming off of this, as well as that vanilla one. That's the time to take this off of the heat, as I've done here. And we just have that little bit of caramelly toastiness, a little bit of caramelization and melting, but we're not getting like a sticky kind of sugar mass. And that's going to add in that nice toasted flavor. Let's pour that back into the container here. Next, we're going to use that toasty vanilla sugar to make a simple syrup. So we're going to take a half cup of it, and it smells unreal at this point, by the way. The toastiness combined with the vanilla and a little bit of that cotton candy type of smell, it's going to be really awesome. So we're going to take a half cup of this, put that in a saucepan, and we're going to add half a cup of water. Simple syrup is a 1-to-1 sugar to water ratio. Okay, so that's added in, 1-to-1. I'm going to heat this back up again. You can heat it more gently this time. Just kind of get it to a simmer, and we're going to stir this constantly is the trick, because you don't want it to caramelize. And you might notice that it's kind of clumpy. That's not a problem. This is going to end up totally liquefying, as we'll see. So let's start stirring. Wooden spoon makes a great utensil, so stir this, keep it moving, and what we're trying to do is dissolve all of that sugar, and you'll see that it's going to start to get a little cloudy, it's going to start to dissolve a bit, and then all of a sudden it's going to reach a temperature where that's all going to just dissolve in it all at once. So let's give it a little time. We're just going to keep stirring, and you can see almost like magic, as you heat this up, all of that sugar is going to be totally dissolved in the water, and we've got this wonderful, very great smelling toasted vanilla simple syrup at this point. So this is what's going to add that vanilla flavor and those toasty flavors to our drink. We're going to let this cool down for a bit, and we'll turn to making the espresso and preparing the rest of the drink. So now let's turn to the Starbucks website. We're going to take a look at the iced toasted vanilla oat milk shaken espresso page here. And you can see for a grande, we've got oat milk, we've got 4 pumps of that toasted vanilla syrup. We'll get back to that. And then we also have our ice, and down here, this is the important part, 3 shots of blonde espresso. So this is their lighter roast, and there's a good way to make that at home. And that is using an espresso maker. So through Starbucks' Starbucks at Home program, you can actually get their blonde Nespresso as a Nespresso capsule here and make the exact same kind of espresso that's going to be used in that drink at Starbucks. So here's our capsules, and we're going to go ahead and brew 3 of these as the recipe on the website said. I'm using filtered water. I've got my blonde espresso here, and I'm going to brew it at the espresso strength, not the lungo strength. And there we go, that beautiful light roast, exactly like you would get in your Starbucks cafe. And we're going to go ahead and make 3 shots of that. There we go, we're ready, and let's now start to build our drink. So I'm going to take this nice glass here where we can see the drink as we build it, and I'm going to start by putting some ice in here, and you can do that to taste. But here's the tricky part. This is not the ice we're going to use to actually chill our drink down, because we are going to add in the shaken component of this shaken espresso, the Starbucks iced toasted vanilla oat milk shaken espresso. So let's take our espresso. We're going to get out a shaker, and I like the OXO Good Grips cocktail shaker. This is a single-walled shaker. We're going to go ahead and pour our espresso in there. Then we're going to add ice into the shaker as well. Good to go there. And now we're going to add in our delicious syrup. So this is cooled down nicely. And as we saw earlier, the recipe calls for 4 pumps of Starbucks syrup and the toasted vanilla syrup. And we are going to duplicate that because each pump is about 1/2 of a tablespoon. So 4 pumps is going to be 2 tablespoons of this homemade syrup. Go ahead and grab those, fill this up, and add it into your shaker. Okay, that's our tablespoons there. Now let's add in our oat milk to the shaker. And I'm going to use Oatly oat milk here. This is vegan. Any vegan oat milk will keep the vegan nature of this drink. Now, this is a matter of some debate in terms of how much milk or oat milk to put in. For a Starbucks Grande Latte, it's usually about 12 ounces, but that's really a milk-centered drink. I think this is going to have the oat milk, but to me, it doesn't taste quite as milky as that. So you can do this to taste. I am going to put in about 1 cup or 8 ounces of this oat milk. And there we go, we got our 8 ounces. Remember to shake it before you put it in. And then we're going to pour this into our OXO Good Grip shaker along with the syrup and the espresso. All right, now let's put that lid onto our shaker, seal this up, and then we're going to go ahead and shake it. And what is that shaking doing? It's frothing everything in there. It's getting that, allowing air in. It's going to help to express that full vanilla toasted flavor. And when we're done, we can go ahead and pop the top off of this. And moment of truth, we're going to pour it into our waiting glass of ice. Here we go. And there you have it. This is our duplicate of the Starbucks iced toasted vanilla oat milk shaken espresso. We've got our oat milk. We've got our homemade toasted vanilla syrup in there. Got it all mixed up. We shook it. Here it is in the glass. It looks beautiful. And let's go ahead and try it. So the moment of truth. Delicious. We get that toasty kind of flavor from the toasted vanilla, and it melds really beautifully with the oat milk here. And I think it's actually, I even like this a little bit better in terms of how those flavors go together than in the drink that I got and tried at Starbucks, because this has more of that sort of, I think I probably used even a little more of the oat milk than they do. It's got more of that kind of creamy melding of flavors with that freshly made homemade syrup there. It's still light. The vanilla adds that refreshing element. It complements the kind of toastiness and kind of oaty nuttiness of the oat milk, and really just beautifully complements that there. And I like that we got that very subtle but definitely present toasty kind of caramelly flavor in there. It's nice and sweet. You can add even a little bit more of that syrup if you want to, and you can use that syrup for other kinds of drinks as well. Don't throw it away. It's a really delicious syrup for anything where you want to have that vanilla flavor added in. But this is a substantial, delicious drink. It's not too strongly kind of coffee flavored. It's got that nice, again, sweetness, nuttiness, kind of caramel flavor from the oat milk, from the toasted syrup that we made. And it is totally vegan. So really awesome. Even with that creamy flavor. Again, the shaking really helps to kind of introduce the air, froth it up, give it that creamy mouthfeel without adding in any of the dairy ingredients. So totally vegan drink. You can go and get one at Starbucks, try it out, or using this recipe, you can go ahead and make your own at home. It's a super fun thing to do and really, really delicious. Nice spring drink, summer drink, really refreshing and extremely tasty.